All right, so get this. We're going deep on this paper today, and it's about something called Zer0-Jack.
Catchy name.
Right. And it's a technique, well, you can say a technique, that can jailbreak AI. But not just any AI.
Right.
We're talking like the big leagues, multimodal large language models.
MLLMs.
Yeah, those, MLMs. The ones that can handle both text and D images, like GPT-4o or mini GPT-4.
Those are definitely the ones making waves, yeah. And as these models get more and more powerful, the question of AI security, it becomes a bigger deal, you know? And honestly, Zer0-Jack, it's making people nervous.
Okay, so jailbreaking,
Yeah.
for folks who maybe haven't heard that term before,
Right.
it's basically like finding a secret way in, like a back door to an AI to kind of force it to give you answers that it shouldn't.
Exactly. Think of it like bypassing the safety protocols.
Okay, so you're getting around those built-in safeguards.
Yeah, and what makes Zer0-Jack even more, well, interesting is that it works on, get this, black box models.
Black box, what's that all about?
So in AI, we talk about white box and black box.
Yeah.
White box researchers, they have like full access to the code. They can see how everything works, like looking under the hood.
Gotcha. So black box is more like you're trying to figure out a magic trick, but you can't see what the magician's doing.
Exactly. You only see what goes in and what comes out, not the actual process in between.
And that's like most commercial AI, right? We use them, but we don't actually know the code behind them.
Exactly. So figuring out how to jailbreak a black box model, that's a big deal.
That's where the Zer0-Jack thing comes in. They've cracked the code of these black box MLLMs.
You got it. This paper, it basically shows how Zer0-Jack can find these vulnerabilities even without knowing the model's internal workings.
So how, like, what's the secret sauce? Some super complicated algorithm.
It is clever, I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They use something called zeroth order optimization.
Zeroth order. Sounds kind of like a secret society or something.
Yeah, it does have a ring to it, right?
Yeah.
So imagine you're trying to crack a safe, but you can't see the dials. Zeroth order optimization, it's like carefully listening to the clicks of the tumblers as you try different combinations. You're basically figuring out the code by how the safe responds.
Oh, okay. So it's like it's figuring out the AI's weak points by watching how it reacts to different stuff you throw at it, like a high-tech game of hot or cold.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it. And they combine that with patch coordinate descent, which that's just a fancy way of saying they targeted very specific parts of the input image, you know, to control the AI's response.
So like they found the AI's tickle spot and figured out how to exploit it.
In a way, yeah. And the results, I gotta say, they're impressive. They managed to jailbreak Mini GPT-4, LLVA 1.5, and INF MLM 1 with a success rate over 90%.
That's crazy high. But wait, you said this works on commercial LLMs too, right? The ones that like everyone's using out there.
Yeah, and that's where it gets really interesting, yeah. They figured out a way to use Zer0-Jack on GPT-4o, which is a commercial model. Anyone can access it.
Hold on. So they're saying they can potentially jailbreak the AI that's powering some of the tools we use like every day. That's kind of wild.
It definitely highlights the potential, you know, risks that come with these powerful AI systems. I mean, the fact that they can be manipulated even without getting into the code directly, that's a big concern.
So if GPT-4 is vulnerable, what other commercial MLMs are out there that might be too?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The researchers, they didn't really get into specifics beyond GPT-4o in this paper, but it's pretty clear that we need to start thinking about AI security in a whole new way.
This feels different, right? It's not just some theoretical what if anymore. This is happening now. This is the real deal.
You got it. The authors, they really hammer home the urgency of it all as MLLMs become more and more, you know, integrated into our lives, having robust security. That becomes absolutely critical.
So the Zer0-Jack thing, it really feels like, you know, Pandora's box, right?
Yeah.
For AI safety.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it really exposes a pretty major weak spot, you know?
Yeah.
And what's really concerning is that it's not just some brute force attack. It's not like they're just throwing stuff at the AI until something sticks. It's way more targeted, more strategic.
Yeah, it's almost like it's learning how the AI thinks and then using that against it.
That's exactly it. And that makes you wonder, you know, what other sneaky techniques are out there or could be developed down the line.
It's kind of creepy, right? To think that someone could be out there like figuring out how to manipulate these AIs for bad stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And it just emphasizes how important a more proactive approach to security is going to be.
Okay, so Traditionally, like how have we been approaching AI security?
Well, usually the focus has been on securing the code itself, like,
Yeah.
making sure nobody can get in and mess with the guts of the system, unauthorized access and all that.
But Zer0-Jack, that shows that even if you can't get to the code, you can still mess with it.
Right, right. So what do we do? How do we build better defenses?
Yeah. What are the options?
Well, the folks behind Zer0-Jack, they have some ideas, some pretty interesting ones actually.
Right.
One thing they talk about is something called robust optimization.
Robust optimization.
Yeah, it's basically like training the AI to be tougher, to resist these kind of targeted attacks.
So instead of just teaching it what to do, you're also teaching it how to defend itself,
Yeah.
like giving it some self-defense skills.
Yeah, exactly. It's like building an immune system for the AI. And then there's another interesting approach they mention
Okay.
called adversarial training.
Adversarial training. Sounds pretty hardcore.
It kind of is. Imagine like a sparring match.
Yeah.
You basically create another AI, a separate one, and its whole job is to try and trick the main AI.
Oh, wow. So it's like AI versus AI, like a
Lit-
digital duel or something.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
And by having them fight it out, you expose the weaknesses, and make the main AI stronger.
It's like we're in this whole new arms race, but it's happening in the digital world.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. And just like any arms race, the stakes are pretty high.
Sure, yeah. The better we get at securing these AIs, the more clever the bad guys are going to have to get.
You got it. It's this constant back and forth, but it's not just about the tech, right? There's a human element here too, for sure.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah.
Like, even with the best security in the world, if the person using the AI is careless or not paying attention.
Exactly. So what can we do as, just regular users? How do we protect ourselves and make sure AI is being used responsibly?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, first and foremost, awareness. We gotta understand the risks, and be smart about how we use these systems.
So it's like being informed, being cautious, not just blindly trusting every piece of tech that comes along.
Exactly. And this goes beyond just, individuals. It's got to be a group effort. Policymakers, the companies making this tech, the researchers, we all got to work together to shape a future where AI is powerful, sure, but also safe.
Right. So it's like it's a shared responsibility.
It is, yeah. We got to make sure that AI helps us, not hurts us, that it benefits everybody.
It's wild, right? We started out talking about this one technique, Zer0-Jack, and now we're like deep in this whole discussion about the future of AI. Like, is
Yeah.
it safe? Is it ethical? It's like this paper, it just cracked open a whole other conversation.
Yeah, it really is interesting how these discoveries, these very specific things, they often kind of force us to step back and look at the bigger picture, the broader implications. Zer0-Jack, it's a perfect example of that, I think.
Yeah, and the fact that they actually managed to jailbreak a commercial MLLM, one that like anyone can use, that's a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, up until now, a lot of the talk about AI safety, it was all like hypothetical, right? Potential problems down the road. But Zer0-Jack, it's a real world demonstration of how vulnerable these systems can be right now.
It's a wake-up call, for sure.
Yeah.
We get so caught up in all the cool stuff AI can do, we forget to ask, like, hold on, what could go wrong?
It's human nature, right? We get excited about the possibilities, and sometimes we maybe overlook the potential downsides. It's easier to focus on the shiny new stuff. But as AI gets, more powerful, more ingrained in our lives, we got to be paying attention to the risks too.
So what's the takeaway here? What should our listeners be thinking about after listening to all this?
I think the main thing is that AI security, it's not just some theoretical problem anymore. It's real, it's happening now, and it needs our attention, all of us, not just the researchers and the tech companies, everyone.
It's like we're all in this big experiment, right? Figuring out this whole AI thing as we go along, and the decisions we make now, they're going to have a huge impact down the line.
Absolutely. So stay informed, ask the hard questions, and be part of the conversation. And the future of AI, it's in our hands. It really is.
Yeah, I like that. Well said.
Yeah.
So on that note, we're going to wrap up our deep dive into Zer0-Jack and the wild world of AI security. Thanks for joining us, everyone.